Welcome, welcome. Another round, another episode in communicating towards the answer. If my internet connection breaks down, please write me something in the chat that I can see if, let's see, hopefully the recording is fine. Hi, Erica. Hi, Cam. Good to see you.
Hello, hello
I see
all.
you guys are frozen in my mind. So let's see if it will work out. Maybe I have to turn off the video at times.
Okay.
This theme, how to deal with apparent atrocities, it's a big theme because uh, we do know that there is no one, including ourselves, who has not suffered some form of attack or violence within the dream. And so, of course, the human mind has projected that in many, many pictures, and we see it not just in our personal experience with some situation or um, let's say some form of conflict, but of course we do see it in the world, and we see it as uh, mostly where we get into a, a sort of emotion in something that triggers um, unjust attack, injustice, unjustified attack, unjustified violence, where mostly civilians are involved, children are involved, or where it becomes very, very apparent and obvious that, or it looks like that the victim had nothing to do with it and was just, uh, in that sense, part of that atrocity which we want to look at today. So, how to deal with apparent atrocities is our theme. And of course, at some point, we will see how we're gonna bring that back home to ourselves, to our mind, because of course, we are looking for an experience where we are capable with a new way of seeing and thinking to, as miracle workers, to deal with it in a new way, in a way that wouldn't just um, benefit ourselves, that we can say, okay, now I've arrived at some sort of peace of mind, but where we would really see a healing occurring in our mind and so in every mind and being reflected also in the world. That's really what we are looking for, though Jesus directs us that we should only look for for that healing experience in our own mind and then come to a certainty and trust that this will communicate by itself. So we made a description, thank you, Erica and Cam, about this theme that goes into quite some questions and quite some um, detailed perspectives. And so I invite you first, Erica and Cam, to what to share how it came also to that theme and uh, what you think is the most important to look at and to contemplate together here.
Yeah, thank you. This came to me when Cam and I were watching a show. And in the show, it was a disaster, I guess, that occurred in Aberfan, a mining disaster. And hundreds of kids were in the schoolhouse and something collapsed and all the kids were dead. In an instant, hundreds of children were dead. This is a historical thing that occurred. And I could see watching it that I don't know how to find healing in those moments when I'm faced with even something that's not occurring to me, happening to me, seemingly. It's something outside. I don't have enough learning yet. Like I can bring in a concept that sort of helps me a little bit, but then the concept just has me feel distance from feeling the emotion. So I'm really lost in this. It's actually a topic that I avoid because I don't know how to be with it in a healed way when I see something terrible in my mind. Like an idea, even somebody may steal the children, or I find one of my children is drowned in the lake here. I'm afraid to touch this, so this is why I really need help with this topic. That's what it is for me. Like I want to know in those moments how
Thank
to
you.
truly access an experience. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, going into this idea of understanding how to process and convert all of the feelings and emotions that come with it is something that, yeah, like Erica says, it just, for me, I can say it gives me a place where I put myself in the evolution of my ascension, to say, I guess, and it is hard to step outside of the grievance and go into that space of love when there's any bit of unjust that shows up on any level of circumstance or situation. And I just experienced it just before we came on this. So I was pretty lit up just a moment ago, and Erica, she's really good at nudging me through this and pushing me through this, but still it's there and I can experience where the grievances really hold me down. And so to find a way of any other than just to say, oh, just give it to God and he'll do that and trust that is not an easy thing to fully commit to yet. So that's where I can start sharing.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I would say at first for myself comes up this of um, injustice, that there would be an injustice, a real source that can affect me and do something with me. And so this is all how it is projected in the outside. I mean, if I look at just what's going on the world sector in Palestine and in the Ukraine and or in even the violence against women in Afghanistan and so on and so forth. Like, but the word is in my mind. That's why we're talking here about. But the first sense would be there is an injustice going on. There is a source of attack thoughts outside myself that is doing something. I'm kind of mm, powerless in it. Uh, I cannot influence it. I cannot do anything. That's how the ego comments it as a first voice, I would say. And then it comes to maybe getting a little distance. It I would say the question arises, if there is injustice, then what is justice? And that's already where I get guidance by Jesus and the Course in Miracles. And so I see that the question is one between recognizing justice, and if there is even such a thing as an opposite to justice that I can call injustice, versus how the mind reacts first with the ego. That was a very good description, Cam, because the mind goes automatically into grievance and not even into grievance, but into expression of grievance which would be to get even at some form, which is an act of vengeance. Somehow, at least on the level of thought, for those unjustly treated children that are killed, let's say. And how is that done? It's done through condemnation, of course. And interesting enough, today's lesson is God condemns me not. And so no more will I. So those are really the questions where I'm directed to. If I really want to find a solution on a level where healing does occur in the true sense. And so I have to direct myself towards my own attack thoughts again versus the loving thoughts, which would bring the healing. If I can find where my mind is in a mode of grievance, vengeance, and attack, I will simply stay in the projection of injustice and leave that source out there in some part that I can call guilty. So I think it's very important to look at the storyline exactly as it is, because that storyline is a complete negative story about the truth of ourselves. Because if I'm not looking at the storyline as it is just put in the chat of the illusion itself, I will never touch that I'm the cause of that and I made it up. I have to, for a moment, feel and be there what I did in that causation, in that making up the world, in that inventing the world. Because otherwise, I will just tell myself that's the new esoteric thinking. I only made a loving world. In truth, yes, I only kept on thinking with God as God created me. But if I still see any image, any reflection of such representations of atrocities, this is still an idea that hasn't left its source, my own mind, and I'm responsible for its transformation. If I'm not capable to transform it with the power of for I'm still as God created me, we were just practicing that, and I still see it, then I need to go in, all the way in. And that means I need to literally grab the bull by the horns in order to feel once more what limitation I made up and laid upon myself, and so upon the entire world. Without that, there's no progress possible. It's just basically it lingers around. The atrocities linger around, and then the mind, the spiritual mind, that's actually a form of spiritual bypassing, would just make more distance to it so that I don't need to see it anymore. That means I'm not looking at the news anymore. I don't read anything about it anymore. If the brother tells me something about it, I will stop him. I will tell him, don't tell me that, because I think it's no more affecting me and it's no longer in my mind. No, deception. It is in my mind. No? So
Thank you.
those would be the directive that I definitely want to go along. No? And then we can also look what Jesus is saying in the course to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the part you just said, because I had a story. Oh, I'm not drawn to watch the news anymore. Oh, I don't see anything bad. Everything looks good. But the moment we're watching that show, I see, oh, shit. I don't want anything to do with this because it's so bad. And I don't want to take responsibility for it. There's no way that I did that. Like, it's awful. It's awful. And I say it's awful because I don't want to look that I did that. It's gross. Yeah. And the next piece for me was like how it's been showing up is this is another story. I think something to get unearthed is when I see my brother telling me about, oh yeah, my sister has brain cancer. And I'm just like completely distancing, like, oh no, that's not real. That's not true. But then I'm leaving my brother. I'm completely disconnected from them. I'm not actually joined with them. And this is the part that I really wanted support with is how do I fully be joined with that and compassionate, but also not buying into it? But I made it. So I mean, this is tough. I'm struggling. I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, and I think that is very, very well answered through the teaching and connection with Jesus and the Course, because he does give us the directive to give it to the Holy Spirit and then proceed towards the healing. But this is not a teaching of denial, of denying the illusion, except in its entirety at the end of basically of the action of forgiveness, because it needs that action of forgiveness that to have that turnaround. What is also interesting is that besides Jesus using the word unjust and injustice, he uses the word unfairness. And he brings it together with the attack, because what the mind needs to learn is if there is a sense of unfairness, on any level, it's also not fair that we are teaching here and we are the ones speaking and the other ones are the ones listening. That's how it looks like, apparently. That's what the ego would use immediately to make an order of difficulty on the level of learning and teaching. Everything that is set in separation, and that's pretty much the entire human experience, is unfair at the end because fairness is only and justice is only in God. So what we need to learn, and that's really the process, I cannot be unfairly treated. And that's what he tries to teach us and to points out. Because if I see that out there those children were unfairly treated, and that this war and that attack or a murder on the street of some complete innocent people apparently is of course completely unfair. What I'm gonna do with that? That's what you're saying, Erica. And of course, I cannot really get out of it conceptually on the level of spiritual concepts, but I can get out on the level of going inside, finding it for myself, reasoning it, if it still has any value for me, and then giving it to the Holy Spirit and asking Him, literally on my knees in my mind, to show me what is eternally shining and eternally in truth. Because I don't know, to say, well, I already know that is just a concept about it. I need to be shown every moment anew. I give you an initial wording coming from chapter 26 in the 10th section is that, and it's in the third paragraph where it says, unfairness and attack are one mistake so firmly joined that where one is perceived, the other must be seen. Now, the moment I see unfairness, injustice, I also must see attack. That's what he says. Yeah. The other must be seen. You cannot be unfairly treated. The belief you are is but another form of the idea you are deprived by someone, not yourself. projection of the cause of sacrifice is at the root of everything perceived. You have no enemy. And here comes already towards the solution, where it shows us where the direction needs to go. Because, of course, the ego will say, uh, I have nothing to do with them, but what I'm really saying in myself is, this is my enemy and I hate you. Yeah. This is what really goes on in the mind, you know, and I don't know how to escape that hate. I don't know how to escape that separation thought that shows up and overwhelms me literally. Né? So that's why he directs, you have no enemy except myself, yourself. I am my own enemy. Yeah, we have it in the lessons too. And you are enemy indeed to him because you do not know him as yourself, which is the brother whom I see out there committing the atrocity. You know, I do not know him when I pin him and I tell what atrocity is doing, right? I think, well, I know his creative power. No, the moment I see him committing an atrocity, I actually already have pinned him as an ego idea in my mind and made him guilty, or made him, or maybe is even, oh, what finally they're standing up for themselves and so on, you know. But in any way, it's set in separation. You do not know him as yourself. What could be more unjust than that he be deprived of what he is, you know, of the recognition of truth, yeah, of creative light, denied the right to be himself, and asked to sacrifice his father's love and yours as not his due. Then beware of the temptation to perceive yourself unfairly treated. Yeah? In this view, you seek to find an innocence that is not theirs but yours alone, and at the cost of someone else's guilt. Someone else's guilt. There must be somebody who is projected and literally condemned as guilty. Can innocence be purchased by the giving of your guilt to someone else? Can innocence be purchased? Yeah. Can I arrive at innocence by giving my guilt to someone else? And is it innocence that your attack on him attempts to get? Is it not retribution for your own attack upon the Son of God you seek? Further down, whatever way the game, he calls it the game of guilt, whatever way the game of guilt is played, there must be loss. Someone must lose his innocence that someone else can take it from him, making in his own. You think your brother is unfair to you because you think that one must be unfair to make the other innocent. And in this game, do you perceive one purpose for your whole relationship? And this you seek to add unto the purpose given it. The Holy Spirit's purpose is to let the presence of your holy guest be known to you. And to this purpose, nothing can be added, for the world is purposeless except for this. To add or take away from this one goal is but to take away all purpose from the world and from yourself. And each unfairness that the world appears to lay upon you, you have laid on it by rendering it purposeless, without the function that the Holy Spirit sees. See, there is the mistake that needs to be seen. My fabrication of the world made the world purposeless. It made it with this trillion of meaningless purposes. In truth, there's only the purpose of God. And the word capitalized is should and can indeed only be aligned with his purpose. That means there's nothing to see that would have any other purpose than serving awakening. So how could it even reflect an apparent attack and atrocity in any form? And that's where I basically just get reflected my own mistake.
Yeah. Thank you. This is, yeah. It gets masked in something that's seemingly very nice and good, and that's what happened this morning. Is we have a family member coming. This is not an atrocity, but I have experienced great pain when this person comes into the house. Terrible pain, like hell in the house. And Cam was preparing me and he said, make sure you don't get pulled into it. Stay in your center. And something about it was weird. Like I knew he was trying to be helpful, but I thought, there's more to this. This sounds nice, but it doesn't matter. We came to the point there's a grievance. It was clear. This person, it's not forgivable what they do. So we pretend, oh, we are going to stay in our center around them. But the truth is, it's attack. It's revealed very clearly that they're so bad, they do this, and now I need to protect myself. But if I didn't look a little harder, it was jumped over. And I think I'm doing this a lot, where it's like constantly almost in subtle ways, like that I'm not catching, where the blame goes out there. I see there's messages in the chat.
Yeah, yeah, we can go into that we in a moment. Cam, what would you like to say or to add on to that, also with that example?
Well, the first thing that I came to was I felt even more upset because Erica wasn't accepting what I was trying to give. And so then it's in that sense, there was more separation that was created in myself, which completely came clear probably 2 minutes before this class started. But the admission in itself of recognizing where it came from originally was me first trying to be helpful, and then it showed up because Eric can see through it really easily with me, and so it was admitting the admission of where that was coming from and sorting that out through the admission really created an opening for that space of recognizing the true love that needs to be there. And something I wanted to say too, I guess maybe that was connected to this idea is when there's something so seemingly far away from God that shows up in your mind, that for me, it just makes it harder to find that love and to find God again, even in all of this practicing that's been going on. And like you were saying, in places in Ukraine and the Middle East where there's so much death and pain caused to people, that's not God. And to experience that in a space of God is, yeah, it's just really throwing me around. And yeah, so that's some of it.
Yeah, and that is exactly how we started out. No? We do recognize this is not love, this is not God. No? We do recognize that, of course. But how do we answer it? And that is really where the rubber needs to hit the road. No? Because if I answer it again with exclusion, with basically just saying that's the bill, and I'm done with it. I'm just holding the truth, and so that's all great, uh, and thank you for those comments in the chat because the truth is true, and that's throughout, and I don't need to discuss that, and I also don't need to really teach that. That's just what is always true, but again, do those pictures go away? Are they forever gone? are they no longer being perceived literally, uh, basically at the gates of heaven, where we all are indeed. But we can only enter if we are not condemning, if we are not categorizing, if we are not letting it be in a corner of our mind. I need to literally get up again, because that was the old tendency, to let that evil be in a corner of the mind, that it would go away, or how perfect I am. Uh, if I still perceive it, it needs the transformation in my mind. That means, I mean, where he directed us, where I was just reading about, was I'm responsible to give purpose, true purpose, to that to that image, to that reflection in my mind, to that seeming enemy, you know. And to give purpose means I cannot leave it there in the corner pretending it's not there, or it's all love, because of course it's it is interchangeable. It literally it reflects our own attack thoughts, and with an attack thought, it is the denial of who we are. It is literally denying God Himself, or pretending God would also be evil. And that's what we have done. It's just getting mixed together, and either it stays in the complete separation, and there's a God with an opposite, or it's mixed together, and and God becomes also the maker of the of the dream of separation, which is not true. So how it can only be solved is if I actually admit and become active in my mind to offer that healing to that part that shows me that, because that is me, myself, and my own thought forms coming back. And in the sense of giving that true purpose, it's there is a, an action in our mind where we have to become willing that that source of atrocity indeed also wants to remember what it is in truth, wants the healing. It's quite a thing to be active in forgiveness and healing, or just to lean back and say, well, I know the truth and love is all there is. Yes, love is all there is, but uh, the activity of how to bring it home, uh, that's mostly it's at least in the beginning, it doesn't feel very good, because I go literally and join for a moment with that separation thought. I join. I accept that that separation thought was made by me, and therefore I will feel it. I cannot not feel it. And once I feel it, I I can only escape by saying, okay, this is what I used against my true self, and I don't want to use that anymore. I have enough of that. Jesus, in just a chapter before that, in chapter 25, in section 9, he says that everyone is equally entitled to his gift, to God's gifts, and the gift of healing and deliverance and peace. Everyone is equally entitled. So I need to give that to those sources of atrocities, that those evildoers, let's say, they are also entitled to the gift of healing, deliverance, and peace. To give a problem to the Holy Spirit to solve for you means that you want it solved. That's the action. It's a different action to admit it, feel it, and give it to the Holy Spirit, or just to say, well, everything is love and truth. It's a different action. That's why we are doing this today, to make aware that there's a job, there's some inner work to do. It's a different action of mind. To keep it for yourself to solve without his help is to decide it should remain. And that's how it is left then in the corner of the mind. It's actually when it is not given to the Holy Spirit with this action. And now listen how he lists it up. So without his help, that's literally trying to solve it by ourselves, should remain unsettled, unresolved, and lasting in its power of injustice and attack. That's where we give it an agreement, where it is basically agreed to, okay, stay there in that corner of the mind, don't bother me, but it is basically the agreement to remain in its power of injustice and attack. What does it do in the mind? It simply continues the game of guilt. It continues the same appearance and reflection. No one can be unjust to you unless you have decided first to be unjust. See, that's another thing which we need to transform. I cannot see injustice in the world committed to myself or to anybody unless I have decided to be unjust. That needs transformation. I cannot transform that by just saying all is love. Again, I need to look in my mind what that means to me, to be that I decided to be unjust. And then must problems rise to block your way and peace be scattered by the winds of hate. Unless you think that all your brothers have an equal right to miracles, yeah, until I arrive at the point where I admit that everyone has an equal right to miracles with me, you will not claim your right to them because you were unjust and you will feel denied. Seek to deprive and you have been deprived. A miracle can never be received. Forgiveness offers miracles, and pardon must be just to everyone. So these sentences, they are very clear and direct us that this forgiveness is literally being as an action of mind, being shared and being extended, and again being experienced in ourselves as oneness. You know what that means? That the enemy are put out there and he's a complete unjustified source of evil doing in my mind. If I look at what Hamas does is, and to share an experience where I see that there comes a oneness experience into my mind. I need that's what the miracle offers. Unless I feel a oneness with those I left out there attacking myself or anybody, uh, I haven't arrived at peace. I haven't arrived at the truth.
Yeah, thank you. It stood out when you read, you said it, that passage said the words peace is scattered, and I'll sometimes think, oh, peace is something God does to me. Like, rather than I have to take responsibility that the peace is inconsistent. It's something I'm doing. That's the reason I don't experience consistent peace, because I'll feel the victim of it. Like, when is God going to deliver me the constant state of peace? But I must actually take responsibility for what I'm doing. It just, the other thing I wanted to say is, while we're going into this topic, it's often very foggy. Like, oh, I'm not connecting with this, and that's because I don't want to. Like I want to, yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to say that it's all me, that I'm doing it. I still want to say it's you. You got bad vibes. You're evil. You're a bad person. It's not me.
Right.
So it's
Right.
yeah.
And
So it's just a cop out, but it's foggy. Yeah. It's trying to keep it in the corner, a dark
right.
cornerstone.
And the
Like
healing is right. And the healing is going to forgiveness and reopening that joining which love then will reveal. No? I mean, to that theme, I was also looking at which lesson is actually really talking about that. And I would always use the first 60 lessons to that because that's where Jesus really challenges us with any type of defense or also bypassing what needs to be transformed. Né? And so in those few sentences, that's in the review then in lesson 55. And he reviews there are two lessons, 22 and 23. Now, 22 is how we mentioned it at the very beginning. What I see is a form of vengeance. Now, the word I see, also the lesson itself talks very clearly about that. And then 23, I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Those two lessons deal very well with how to solve these problems, no matter if it is projected out there in a war zone or in surviving in your house. It's also a war zone immediately. And how he describes it, and many times we forget that how he describes it in its simplicity of the words. So let's just and those who are practicing A Course in Miracles, I knew those words almost by heart over many years. What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. Yes, I agree. It is a picture of attack on everything and by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of his son. It is anything else but not this. Yeah. It is, and here he already points it is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. It's not out there. It's my own attack thoughts. I need to admit, loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have. Yeah, so that's the direction. Yeah, attack thoughts versus loving thoughts or towards loving thoughts. And then 23, I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a word of attack. Without my own attack thought, I could not see a word of attack. Here it is. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy, and it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. So it's very simple actually, but there's no way I can pass by to admit what I see out there are my own attack thoughts, and I need to go in there towards that experience where it disintegrates, where the oneness is, where love again restores our sanity.
okay, so when
Cam?
I'm honest about it, oh, Cam,
No, girl.
yeah.
No,
Do
you.
you have something, Cam?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I think what happens with forgiveness, because forgiveness is like a boring kind of term to me. I still don't understand it, I think, because I keep trying to do it. I, as Erica, tried to do forgiveness, and I can't do it, right? I mean, I have to ask for the Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit that shows me this, right? I mean, I've had experiences of it, but it's like in that moment where I recognize and I really want to feel peace. I want to be delivered from what I'm feeling. I don't know how sometimes, Devavan. Like it's not coming quick enough. Is this just me being honest then that I really don't want it? That I really haven't let it go?
I, I think it's the human beings. I've faced it at times. It's a resistance against true forgiveness. I would want to forgive. Okay, I'm better off, and I forgive you. I pardon you. But true forgiveness is I need to join and see how love restores my sanity. It's literally the resistance against the experience itself. And here another where he says it, where I was reading from in chapter 25, one more, because it's so great. And they stand for themselves and they speak for themselves, those words. No? Just where he starts, uh, bitterness with vengeance justified and mercy lost condemns you as unworthy of forgiveness, unworthy of forgiveness. Yeah, the unforgiven have no mercy to bestow upon another. That forgiveness for yourself. And then he continues, well, we have lost those two guys who will come in again. They also must have not a strong internet. Justice must be done to all if anyone is to be healed. Yeah, justice must be done to all if anyone is to be healed, and that means justice in a true sense, that comes from God and represents God. No one can lose, and everyone must benefit. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, even the so-called evildoers, they must benefit in the sense of the healing, of the change of mind, of turning towards the peace within themselves. Each miracle is an example of what justice can accomplish when it is offered to everyone alike. Beautiful. No one can lose. What justice can accomplish when it is offered to everyone alike. It is received and given equally. It is awareness that giving and receiving are the same. So, what we are looking at is to find that giving and receiving is one in truth, is the same. And, of course, I would also like to have it. It only comes from me and is extending outwards. Now, it is also me giving and me receiving. And we cannot, in that sense, there is no other way to come to inner peace, to truth, to love, to see how literary prophets are also willing uh, to admit that yes, that miracle needs to be shared and is available for everyone. And then the lightning storm that Erica and Cam just knocked out of their connection is then included in it. Né? And it becomes basically also a forgiveness towards all that I'm doing to myself. Né? Because here I do everything to myself. Né? And it is only if I learn to perceive it with the inner eye, with the Holy Spirit, that it literally uh, shows me its meaninglessness, its nothingness. And only if I recognize its meaninglessness, I will not need to react to it. We can always measure it on what am I doing with that. It's only when we are completely at peace and quiet, and we see it's not there. It doesn't do anything. It has no simply nothing. Then we are staying at peace and we don't need to react no matter to what situation. And of course, there comes in a sense of even joy or easiness to admit this is just a dream, this is just a joke, that I made a nightmare, but because I forgot to laugh at it, because I thought it's really so affecting me. No? But, we are guided in that. And as the moment, I do learn that resistance against forgiveness, that not wanting to enter into that experience of the truth of and oneness of the one truth, the creative truth, uh, then of course I will still see those reflections. But that's where we can accelerate it. No? That's where the internet got knocked out. No? I can ask for that. I can develop a vigilance. I can develop a faster way to remember. And the faster I can remember, okay, my job is to forgive in a true sense, then I don't need to worry about so much what I perceive, but to worry about the action, how to turn it over literally, how to bring it to the Holy Spirit. And yeah, and including asking Him, you take care of that for me, please. Yeah? I cannot manage that. I'm powerless over that image. No? I'm even applying everything, the best concept I have, it's still not going away. No? So He needs to do it for us. Well, let's have our last words, as long as the connection holds. Erika can. Thank you so much, you dear ones. Okay, okay, I see the microphone, right, because it came, you lost your co-host. Yeah, I see. Okay, now you should be able to unmute.
Okay, there we go.
What I want to say is I'm so thankful to you all, and I love you so much. I had dear Claudia sharing the same message to me this morning, and I just so much gratitude for you. I love you. Dev, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Well, just for everyone, we're gonna keep it open. We basically completed the series, but we decided we will meet once in a while, not next weekend. Themes arise, and it will be announced on my Telegram channel, Devavan and Kurs in Wundern, and as well for the for the Spanish, in this Spanish group that we have for the regular sessions in Spanish. And I will also put it, of course, on Facebook, and it will always be first published on my website. So you can always go to the website, devavan.com, and find with the date when the next meeting will occur. Yeah. So not next Saturday, but then who knows when. But we will find some themes, I'm sure. Cam, what are your last words?
Okay. Well, there was a moment where I had a strong sense of unsatisfaction through this, just because of how seemingly enormous of a topic this is. And so there's still stuckness, but something of self-love that was shared is is really taming a lot of that emotion. And so to hold that self-love and then to join it with the true love is really helping place things in a way that I can connect and be in that space of peace. So thank you for that. That share was very helpful. And to have these tools and throughout this 12 weeks
Yeah,
that we've
thank you
done,
for your expression.
throughout all of these 12 weeks that we've been able to share, and it's definitely filled up my quiver of ammunition to say of how to be. So I am to the utmost grateful for all of the
Yeah.
efforts. So much love. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful.
Mm.
Thank you too. Yeah, and we actually have, this is our 14th because we had an episode 0 also as a
Mm.
starter, and this is episode 13. So yeah, we will see where it's gonna go. But as you said, also this theme is huge that we just spent here less than an hour, and but I could hear certain things by the reading in A Course in Miracles today, also in our sharing here, which will open up further thoughts about it, you know. And I just want to invite you as myself also to, and I will post it in the description to those passages where I was sharing it. But there's so much more there where Jesus is guiding us to be very active in this transformation of our attack thoughts and of that stopping this projection of guilt, leaving it in the separation, you know. But of course, that's a life theme, basically speaking. You know, that's the reason why we are here. You know, the moment this is accomplished, we're not going to be here anymore. So it's we can take it easy and just go along with process and recognitions in that. Well, let's open up the microphone for everyone to just greet each other and bless each other. Thank you, loves.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Gracias,
thank you,
Tania.
Erica.
Gracias,
Thank you. I
Anka.
love you. I love you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything.
Mhm.
Blessed love. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Okay,
It was
Oh.
giving me a good teaching. Thank you so much. I got a lot. Thank you. Now I must share it.
Good job.
Bye.
Thank you. Here's a good indication too. Take this whole word